The cricket world has been set alight after former Pakistan legend Saqlain Mushtaq made explosive remarks, calling on the International Cricket Council to take a closer look at the recent clash between West Indies cricket team and South African national cricket team, a match that has now moved from being just another result on the scoreboard to a full-blown talking point across the global cricket community. Speaking with visible concern, Saqlain did not hold back as he questioned how a West Indies side packed with international experience and explosive franchise league stars could collapse so dramatically on what he described as a flat and batting-friendly surface. According to him, the nature of the dismissals raised eyebrows, not because players got out, as that is part of the game, but because of the manner in which they lost their wickets. He pointed to reckless stroke play at a time when the situation demanded composure, noting that wickets were falling at one end, yet incoming batters continued to play high-risk shots instead of stabilizing the innings. For a team known for power hitting, this approach looked less like natural attacking cricket and more like a lack of match awareness, something Saqlain believes is deeply uncharacteristic at the international level, where game management is a basic requirement. What has added fuel to the fire is the financial angle he introduced, highlighting the long-standing economic struggles of the West Indies board compared to the financial muscle of other cricketing nations. Over the past decade, many Caribbean players have become global T20 superstars, earning lucrative deals in tournaments such as the Indian Premier League, sometimes making far more from franchise cricket than from representing their national side. Saqlain suggested that this financial imbalance creates a complex dynamic where national duty and franchise commitments exist side by side, and while he stopped short of making direct allegations, he hinted at the possibility that such financial ecosystems could influence performances in ways that deserve scrutiny. He questioned whether the West Indies board indirectly benefits when its players are in high demand in leagues, and whether that relationship could ever create a conflict of interest in high-stakes international matches. The bowling performance also came under his microscope, as he spoke about what he called a visible lack of intensity, an unusual observation for a team that traditionally relies on raw pace, athleticism, and aggressive body language to put opponents under pressure. Against South Africa, he argued, there seemed to be very little sustained effort to build pressure through disciplined lines and lengths, and the fielding energy, usually a hallmark of Caribbean cricket, appeared subdued. For Saqlain, these were not just technical failures, but signs that the match deserved a deeper look to protect the integrity of the sport. His comments have triggered a wave of divided reactions. On one side are those who agree that in modern cricket, where betting markets, franchise leagues, and massive broadcast deals intersect, the ICC must be extremely vigilant and transparent whenever unusual performances occur, not necessarily to prove wrongdoing, but to maintain public trust. They argue that investigations, when conducted professionally, are not accusations, but tools to clear doubts and protect players from speculation. On the other side are fans and former players who believe the remarks are unfair to South Africa's dominance and to the natural unpredictability of cricket, a sport where collapses can and do happen even to the strongest teams. They point out that the Proteas have one of the most formidable bowling attacks in world cricket, and that a top-order meltdown is not evidence of anything beyond high-quality opposition and pressure. For them, suggesting an investigation risks undermining genuine performances and feeds conspiracy narratives that can damage the reputation of players who have worked for years to reach the international stage. The broader issue this controversy has exposed is the changing economic structure of world cricket. Boards like those of England, India, and Australia operate with significantly larger revenues, while others, including West Indies, Pakistan, and several smaller nations, often rely on bilateral tours and player participation in global leagues to stay financially afloat. This imbalance has already led to debates about player loyalty, workload management, and the future of international cricket, especially in the shorter formats. Saqlain's remarks, whether one agrees with them or not, have forced the cricket community to confront uncomfortable questions about whether the current system places some teams at a structural disadvantage, and whether that disadvantage can sometimes reflect in on-field performances that look suspicious but may simply be the result of deeper systemic challenges. Another dimension to the story is the psychological pressure on modern cricketers. With social media analysis, 24-hour sports channels, and data-driven scrutiny, every dismissal, every dropped catch, and every over is dissected in real time. When a team collapses badly, the narrative quickly moves from technical analysis to speculation, and that can be damaging not just for individuals, but for the spirit of the game. Several former players have already come out urging caution, saying that if every poor performance is treated as a potential scandal, cricket risks creating an environment of constant suspicion rather than healthy competition. Yet, at the same time, the history of the sport, from past match-fixing scandals to corruption cases, means that governing bodies cannot afford to ignore concerns when they are raised by respected voices. The ICC Anti-Corruption Unit was created precisely to ensure that the game remains clean, and its role is to monitor patterns, betting movements, and any red flags that may emerge. Whether or not this particular match ever reaches that level of scrutiny, Saqlain's call has already achieved one thing. It has placed the spotlight back on the importance of transparency and accountability in international cricket. For South African fans, the focus remains on their team's performance, which they see as a clinical display of professionalism and execution. For West Indies supporters, the debate is more emotional, as it touches on years of frustration about administration, player availability, and the struggle to return to the dominance the Caribbean once enjoyed. In the middle of all this are the players themselves, who now find their performance being discussed not just in terms of technique and tactics, but in terms of integrity, something that can be both unfair and mentally taxing. The real question going forward is not just whether an investigation should happen, but how cricket as a global sport can create a system where such suspicions rarely arise, a system with better financial balance between boards, clearer scheduling that respects international commitments, stronger grassroots structures, and consistent communication between governing bodies and fans. Because ultimately, the health of the game depends not only on thrilling matches and star players, but on the belief that every contest is genuine, fiercely fought, and decided purely by skill, strategy, and heart.